Hello, welcome to the session 5 of Unit 6. Gradually, we are getting to the close of this unit and the close of this entire course. In session 5, we want to talk about the derivation of the demand curve. We will now use the model of consumer choices discussed in session 2, session 3, and session 4 to make some predictions about the effects of changes in price on the consumption patterns. By studying the effects of a change in price, holding all other effects constant, we will be able to derive a consumer's demand curve. All right. So by the end of the session, we believe that you should be able to derive a consumer's demand for a product using indifference curve analysis. Indifference curve analysis. And you should also be able to prove another explanation or provide another explanation for the downsloping what demand curve. All right, so let's get started. Now, a consumer's demand function for a good can be derived graphically based on his or her indifference curves and the budget lines. So take your jotter and let's do this sketch together. I'm going to do some sketch and I will talk to the sketch. So let's do it together. We are drawing two different, so do the same thing. We know here is for commodity Y, quantity for commodity X. Here we want to assume only, we want to get, let's say, the demand curve for only commodity what? X. So for demand curve, we will need a price of X and then the quantity of what? X. So now draw this. Okay. Draw an indifference curve on each of them. Indifference curve on this, and indifference curve on this. So name this part B, name this part C, name this part A. Let A be matched to 16 here. We will let B match to 35. We will let C match to say, let's say here say 64. We'll give this place 70 and let this place be 100. Name the indifference curve. This is for 1, U1, U2, this is U3. Alright. So I'll name this graph A, I'll name this graph B. Okay. Now we will extend these broken lines down here, we'll trace it down here, we'll trace this one too down here. So it means that we will still need the 16, we need the 35, and we need the 64. Alright. Our origin, never forget your origin. Then I can say I can make this part A, so make this part A, make this part say B, and then make this part say C. My graphs are not drawn to scale. I'm going to draw a demand curve through these points. Alright, so make this one A1, B1, C1. This is demand for X. Alright, we have to get their respective prices. So let's make it 10 for here, 5 for B, and give C 3.5. 3.5. Alright, so now let's talk about this diagram that we have here. So consider a consumer whose indifference curves and budget lines are shown in diagram A on the top. And assume that the consumer has 350 Ghana cedis to spend on products X and Y. The initial price of X is 10 cedis, the initial price of Y is 5 cedis. Under these conditions, the consumer could actually acquire 35 units of X or 70 units of Y or combination thereof, as we have illustrated by the lower budget line. Okay, that is the first one. We are looking at the first budget line, where the point A is in the first diagram A. Now the three indifference curves are plotted. We have the U1, U2, U3. Given the income constraint of 350 Ghana cedis, we want to say the initial price of X, that is 10 cedis, and Y 5 cedis. The consumer would choose combination A on curve what U1, and at this point the consumer will acquire 60 units of X, as you can see on the diagram A. And this point is now plotted on the lower panel of the diagram B. You can see we traced it and we named it what A exponent 1. Now, if the price of X declines to 5 cedis, a new budget line is then defined which intersects the QX at axis what 70. The new optimum occurs at point B with what 35 units of X being demanded at price what 5, as we can see on both diagrams. Now finally, at the price of 3.5 units, it is 4 units X, a new optimum point or maximum point occurs at C with 64 units on X demanded, as we can see on the A. The C is plotted towards 64 on X. And by plotting to the lower panel the three prices and associated quantities demand, the familiar demand curve, that is the DX on the second diagram, that is diagram B, we can see the familiar demand curve for good X is derived and as illustrated by the curve that connects with A exponent 1, B exponent 1, and then C exponent 1. Okay, so with this, we can see that the consumer's demand curve for product X sweeps downward. That is, the lower the price of the good X, the more he or she buys. He or she, are talking about the consumer buys. And this brings us to the end of this session. We looked at how to derive the demand curve using the what's indifference curves and the budget line for a particular commodity. Okay. And in the next session, we are going to talk about income and substitution effects and then close this particular unit, that is unit 6, and close the entire book. Until then, I will say thank you.